Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing today? My name is Mary Cronert, and I'm here on behalf of the Living Room Community Art Studio with another live stream artist chat. This is something we do, or we try to do, every Tuesday since the pandemic started, where we get a chance to reach out and connect with another artist, maker, change maker who's doing lovely or amazing and awesome things out there in the community, to learn more about them, why they do what they do, and just in a general way, how creativity is involved in their life. Does it help them? Is it something they turn to? Do they have trouble with it sometimes? All of these questions, all of these ideas that I'm sure all of us experience and can relate to in one way or another. We're looking for that common ground with other creators out there. And today we're super lucky. Again, every Tuesday I say that I'm lucky, but I get to talk with an artist I first met in the studio space many years ago when we still had the studio, although we haven't had a chance to connect in person since then. Farah Hussein is the name of this wonderful artist and maker we'll be chatting with today, on Instagram known as Farah's Flowers Art. So please check them out. But you know what? In the meantime, let's see if they're here watching and I can send them a little invite. Let's see. And that's my singing. There we go. So let's send them an invite and see if they're ready to join. Something that I've loved about this maker personally is watching their journey, their creative journey, grow over time through their Instagram channel or their Instagram page. Instagram and social media in general, sometimes for artists, cause us so much anxiety, so much stress. There are, at the same time, this amazing tool and resource that enables us to connect with others out there in the community, to build relationships with people who might be able to support us, or just to have a relationship with. And over time, watching what Farah's been able to do on their Instagram, through what they've chosen to share with us, it seems it's just such a privilege to witness the growth and the journey and the kind of the evolution and discovery of their creative self. So without further ado, why don't we invite Farah on for themselves with regards to creativity and self-expression and all of that stuff. Because you know me, I could talk for a long time. Hello.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. Oh, it's so good to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
And I know you're really busy right now. You're actually on a little break between, like in between worlds right now.
Yeah. I have classes all day today.
Oh, well, thank you doubly then for taking time out of such a busy day. And I know this time of year is probably pretty hectic with school, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will do my best to make good use of the time I have with you today. Okay, so for folks who may not be familiar with who you are or what you do, can you explain who you are in your own words for them?
Yeah, I am an artist, maker, crafty creator type of person. I do a lot of different types of art. I like using a lot of different mediums. So I do painting, like watercolor painting, acrylic painting,
Yeah.
gouache painting. I do wood burning, also known as pyrography, and I do a lot of embroidery.
Yeah, your textile and your fiber arts have,
Yeah.
wow. Wow.
Thank you.
I mean, everything I've
Thank
seen
you.
is lovely and amazing. So, but one of the things I learned from you from just checking in the other day and chatting is that I kind of, and this sometimes happens with social media and what we see other people doing without actually sharing space with them or being in regular contact with them. I had always assumed that you wanted to pursue like your artistness as a way of like making money as a career, because from the quality of what you do, I look at and I say, wow, yeah, obviously that's professional stuff. And again, that's my own weird little inner judge and critic talking there. But
Mhm.
for you, that's not the main reason why you make things. You,
No, I don't typically sell my work. Not not often. I find art and doing sort of like different artistic practices to like benefit my wellness a lot. I find myself turning to maybe painting when I'm feeling unwell, or embroidery and pyrography, like wood burning. It just sort of like fills me up,
I love
fulfills me.
You know what? I'm so glad that I got to chat with you this week because I think
Mhm.
I need to be reminded of that as well. Even though that's what the living room is all about,
Yeah.
mentally, it's easy to get caught up in trying to make our way in the world. And sometimes even even an archive our like operator like myself will forget that the making is in service of us. We create,
Mhm.
we can, and it brings us joy. Uh, Such a beautiful thing to be reminded of, and to see someone like yourself who seems to be like just growing and pushing yourself to create new ways as well. Like your Instagram is so creatively diverse. It's a just lovely to look at it and see what you've been working on over this past year, especially.
Thank you. I like keeping it diverse because it keeps things fun and fresh and also offers a lot of people the opportunity to also see what I do and
Hmm.
maybe ask me like, oh, I saw you were needle felting. Like, how did you get into that? And
Yeah.
I want people to ask me like about the or see my process, see all the different stuff I do, and think for themselves like, I can do that too. I can start like I could start wood burning, I could start doing needle felting, I could start knitting just on a whim. So I try to share a little bit of the process as well on my Instagram so that it's not it's diverse because I want to do all that diverse stuff and I want to do a lot, but I also want to show people that they can also maybe try stuff out themselves.
I love it. That's so great. Okay, so I'm going to put a pin in that, and I want to return to
Yeah.
that side of things in a little bit. But just sort of revisiting your own creative journey. Um,
Mhm.
I often ask the people I chat with, when were you first aware that of being an artist, that you were this creative being?
Well, when I was younger, like let's say kindergarten, even before kindergarten probably, but like kindergarten grade 1 to 3-ish, I really found myself like drawing a lot and just like wanting to put pencil to paper all the time. Like just like if I'm sitting in the car and I'm bored, I would ask my mom like, do you have any receipt paper? Do you have a pen or something like that I can use to just draw and sketch stuff out?
Yeah.
And growing up, people would always ask me like, "You're gonna grow up to be an artist, right?" And I'm like, I don't know. I really like to draw, and um, my mom bought me some paint in maybe third or fourth grade and like some canvases or whatever. And that I went crazy with that. It was super exciting to me to like just try different stuff out.
That's awesome. So shout out to caregivers all over who
Mhm.
support that creative spark in those they work with and grow with and take care of. Um,
Mhm.
but that's really interesting. So for you, uh, it wasn't something that was not, it was just, you just felt compelled. There was this compulsion. I gotta, and I want to do this. This brings me
Mhm.
pleasure.
And when I was younger too, I would bring some like I would read like blogs and stuff where people were blogging about their creative process, and
Mhm.
I would try to replicate stuff, and I would bring stuff to school and to the classroom. Like in let's say fourth or fifth grade, I would bring my like personal at home art projects to school, and the teacher would be like, "Hey, that's great. We should use that to like everyone in the class should try this art project, like little popsicle stick baskets and little I forgot what you call it when you roll the paper up into small little
Oh yeah.
quilling."
Oh, quilling? Yeah.
So my teacher would always get me to help the class like also be creative, which really excited me.
That's an interesting thing when you're first recognized, when someone else, and it's lovely if it's a teacher, but someone that we are kind of conditioned to look up to in some way recognizes an affirmative impulse in you.
Yeah.
Uh, that it's having that kind of recognition early on. Was there ever a point in your life where you thought, yeah, you know what, I do want to become an artist? There's people telling me that I'm going to become an artist. And I always feel like when they say that, there's this, what they're really saying is like a professional. You're going to do this for a living. You're going to do, was there
Yeah.
within yourself, were you saying to yourself as well, yeah, I think I'm going to do that?
I don't really like I never really like took it to a professional level from people like I don't know how to describe it, like people talking to me about like you're a little artist. Like I never thought that I would like grow up to be a professional artist. I always just kind of liked doing stuff as a hobby.
And you know, the reason why I'm asking is because I've been thinking a
Mhm.
lot about this today in particular. I don't know why. Some days I just go to a place where
Yeah.
I feel, you know, with anything that I love, there's also that other side where I feel I can be very critical of it sometimes too. And I've
Mhm.
been thinking a lot about the way we're kind of directed or channeled towards certain things, and why it isn't necessarily something that is, yeah, like what it is when someone says you're going to be an artist, you're a little artist. And but if so is everyone else. Like, why is
Yeah.
it that there's this compulsion to recognize and pin these labels on us? And how does it shape us moving forward? And I've just been reflecting on that today. And because I was talking to you, someone who, again, I had that assumption like, oh, wow, you're doing all these cool things out there. And then to just come back to that place of you're doing it for yourself, you're just doing it for you.
Hmm.
And it's not often that we see that these days, especially on social media, where there is you know, and I don't mean agenda in a negative way, but we're sort of, especially I think if, you know, I'm a little older, so I wasn't raised with social media. I was raised with YouTube. It wasn't something that I turned to discover new forms of art and things like that. Now that it is there, it seems like there's such pressure on people to choose
Hmm.
and direct those energies and make something of yourself in that way. Uh, how do you deal with those pressures, and how do you, like, what led you to sort of free yourself from that and say, I'm going to share it because I can?
I I notice a lot of people who do creative stuff, they go through art block and it hits them really hard.
Mm,
Like if they go through art block, all of a sudden they're like, I hate everything I do and
mm,
I can't get to the place I used to be again. And I just don't, I think people should be like kinder to themselves when they're experiencing art block. And I think people should
mhm.
sort of ride the wave of like, if you're inspired by something, you should do something. If you're not in the moment, don't like get yourself down about it.
Yeah.
And I went through a lot of like rough patches growing up, like not feeling like I just didn't want to call myself an artist. Like I didn't want to like be I'm not an artist. Like I'm not any sort of professional. I can't really draw, but I enjoy drawing. Like it's just a really weird um feeling.
Yeah.
So I find myself just being like kinder to myself, just doing what I want to do and making sure that it feels right for me. There's a lot of times when I've turned to doing creative stuff because it fulfills me, and there's also a lot of times that I stepped back and I just didn't pressure myself to all of a sudden feel better.
So what is it that helps you when you do share stuff on your Instagram? Um, how do you choose what you share and what you keep for yourself? If creativity is approached yourself of wellness and joy, uh, what what leads you to sharing what you do with others?
That's a good question. I don't know. Again, it's
Mm,
sometimes it's just like if it feels right to share,
mm,
if the piece feels like a complete like finished piece. I don't really share anything in progress because sometimes I share stuff in progress. I don't end up finishing it. I don't know why, but I'll share completed pieces and I'll share stuff if I step back and I say, you know, this is like a really like nice piece of work that is you know, good quality. I don't know. I just like to share completed stuff.
that's really nice. And it seems, you know, I've got, you know what, I have a really weird energy today, so I'm just going to name that right now. So I think there's a reason why I'm chatting with you today, just to be reminded of the loveliness and the simplicity that can come along with creation. And also it's a nice reminder, thank you for sharing that, that sometimes it's difficult to share the work in progresses. And is there something that happens when you say, like, sometimes you don't finish them if you share them? Do you think that has something to do with having them out there in the world? Like once we share it, it feels different somehow?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. There's times when I've put in my story like, here's half of the like embroidery that I've done, and then I just don't finish it. I wonder if I just like sharing stuff that's completed. I wonder if I don't really um finish stuff because once I post it, it's like signifying that it's done. I don't know.
It's interesting that I know. And it's, I
I have
think
no idea.
sometimes when I talk to other artists as well, and it's, um, there is this sense of, the pressures involved in sharing work on social media that it feels like it's a product somehow once it's out there in the world, and that
Mhm.
we can lose that aliveness that comes with the creative process. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's that. Maybe it's just you need time to step away and take a break and get some perspective on it. Who knows?
Maybe.
Uh,
I have no idea.
it's a,
It's just something that always happens to me.
that's okay, and I'm sure there's other people out there who can relate. Uh, when we were chatting the other day, and you were talking about being someone who is drawn to making so many different kinds of things and not being kind of narrowly identified with one kind of creative self-expression. How do you like what is the process for you? Do you have a process when it comes to trying new things, or is it just a spontaneous kind of like, yeah, I think I want to do this today?
Yeah, 'cause I have different places that I get inspired from.
Yeah.
Um Sometimes I see like stuff on Pinterest or when I was younger, especially things on blogs. But sometimes I just walk into the art store and I'm like, what do I feel like today? Like I have, my pay came in tonight, like yesterday night, like let's go crazy in the art store.
Treat
But
treaters.
like I started pyrography because I wanted to do wood carving, and I went to the wood carving section and the wood burners were over there too, and I was like, wait a second, what do I get? Like, do I get the carving tools, or like there's like wood burning stuff? And so it's just sort of like, different places I get inspired in the art store, in like other people's Instagram accounts, what they're trying out. I like to take a look at in like Pinterest, blogs. There's a lot of different places.
And that's one thing that's amazing today. There are so many ways and places to find inspiration.
Mhm.
Uh, it leads me actually to one thing. I shared one of your wood burning pieces on Instagram earlier today,
Mhm.
and I want to learn more about it if you're open to talking about it, because it was a collaboration or something that was made for another artist, a musician. Yes.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I'm always fascinated with how artists find one another, how makers find one another, and what happens when, you know, we work with one another to lift to lift ourselves up or to expand our audiences. How did that collaboration come about?
Yeah, she's actually a friend. I met her, I think it was like this year, like during the pandemic. I just we worked together a little bit, and like my like paid job, like we worked together a little bit.
Yeah.
And she was kind of hesitant to talk about her her music at first because she's like, I don't like being around people or listening to it. So I'm like, I'll listen to it later. And I listened to her music, and it's really, really good stuff.
Yeah.
And she is very familiar with um, film and editing, and she's an editor. So
Yeah.
it just sort of like fell into place where I said, hey, let's like do something because I've always wanted to animate wood burning. I've always wanted to animate pyrography, and I've always wanted to animate different types of mediums. And she's like, yeah, I can do like some digital animation. And she said, I have a song coming out actually. Let's collaborate. And
Amazing.
I
So folks who are
was
this is the artist we're talking about is Solace. And so I can tag them afterwards. It's Solyss. Is that how they're
yeah.
called? Yes. Um, and I just love hearing that story. So you were just working together, not like as artists, just like,
No, not an artist at all. She did her own music. I did my own pyrography stuff, and I just approached her as like, hey, like let's make a music video. And she's like, well, I actually have a song coming out, so
That's awesome. See that is the kind of stuff I love, when you find that like it's kind of like two people recognizing that creative spark in the other and just like let's do this. Why not? Let's try this.
Especially since she has qualifications in editing
Yeah.
and in producing and directing, and she sort of when I said let's make a music video, I want to animate woodburning, she came at me with the ideas, and then we like totally collaborated on it. It was awesome.
And I think one of another reason why I love that, although like aside from the spontaneous co-creation that happens, is because it was, I mean, it came, at least to me, it seems like it came from such a place of joy and just like,
Yeah.
what if we try this thing? Like two people who are creators sparking this off. There isn't any kind of, I don't
And um she's so close to her music, like she writes her lyrics, she writes her music, she's a musician like professionally, and just for her to trust me with sort
know.
of her art, like trusting me to animate something that fits the music, like it's a lot of trust that she that she gave to me. I think she's watching right now.
Hearts coming up. Oh, ho, ho.
She trusted me a lot. She can say that she trusted me a lot because I had never like animated word burning, and I'm less professional than she is, so she had to sort of guide me and teach me a lot about the process as well.
So you're working through it like frame by frame, creating kind of like like a stop motion effect, or is that something? And maybe we can talk to Solace about that if they want to do an artist chat. But um, that's so the two of you working together, guiding one another through this process, teaching one another different things about what
Mhm.
you're doing
I had
creative.
to tell her what wood burning is like. Like I had to animate. She asked me if I was able to do her album cover for her previous album, and I said it's like a lot. Like you shared the final photo, but I asked her to draw sort of like simple lines for me to sort of fill in with the wood burning. And then to make the movement of the hair in the music video, I had to sandpaper erase. I had to erase the hair and then reburn the lines to animate it. So I had to like make it like a wavy hair motion.
That's amazing. What a process. So,
Yeah.
and now you walk away from that collaboration with more knowledge and more skill
Mm,
at your disposal for anything else that comes in the future. Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. Yeah. And I think too
thank you.
we can watch that video on Solace's uh
Yeah,
it's
on her Instagram. I can share it to my stories. I can send you the music video, like
awesome.
the share. Send it to you.
That would be great because that's another thing we love doing. I love shining light on other artists and makers, whatever they're doing out there. Like art hives are wonderful places to discover other
Mhm.
there in the world who are like-minded, who just love doing what they do for the sake, yeah, of that creative self-expression and how it helps
Mhm.
us, right? Not everyone has the goal of becoming a millionaire. Well, I don't know if any artist can ever really become a millionaire, but it's it's good to be reminded that again. I think I've said this so many times in this one chat, so forgive me, folks. I'm on a tangent here. Just that lovely reminder that we make art because we make art, whatever kind of art
Mhm.
it is. Um, Now, you mentioned earlier that you also create for your own wellness. Do you want to talk
Mhm.
about that a little bit?
Yeah, I um sometimes I find myself just wanting to paint because of um I don't know like exactly how to describe it, but maybe I'm feeling really emotionally charged, like just upset or sad or unhappy, and I try to like maybe find a way to either feel better or just like occupy my mind. And I find that when I'm painting,
Yeah.
it's almost like it doesn't matter what I'm painting. Like I just like take a brush and some paint and just like wipe it on the canvas. And my mind just starts to like free up. It's a really weird feeling, but it's kind of why I encourage a lot of people to just paint for the sake of painting. And like
Right.
people are like, I can't even draw a stick figure. You want me to like paint something? I'm like, don't paint something. Just paint. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yes. Yeah. And also when people, don't mean to interrupt you, but when people say they can't draw a stick figure, they're lying. Everyone draws. And that's what I love. If we put all our stick figures together, there would be this extraordinary exhibit of unique, one of a kind stick figures, and it would be brilliant. But anyways, as you were saying,
Exactly. Exactly. Like, I can't draw, and I'm like, I can't really draw either compared to like if you put your standards like to your art. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like
yeah, if
you have
you,
such high expectations of like, I want to draw this whole elaborate thing, and I'm like, you can try, it's fine.
yeah,
But for art and wellness for myself, like I noticed that I I had a little bit of a bad breakup a couple of years ago, and I started painting, and then I started this Instagram account from not feeling too great and not feeling too well, and painting, and like after that breakup, it was like it was rough. It was rough, but I found myself painting. That's like one of the first times I realized that like, wow, I actually like to like just put a brush on the canvas.
yeah. In archive land, there's a saying that we sometimes use. And it's sort of, I guess it sort of borrows a little bit from art therapy land as well. Uh, it's let the art hold the hard stuff.
Aw.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't know what the hard stuff is going to be. It can just be a place where you put things, and that could be any modality too. It could be music, it could be writing, it could be collaging or knitting, fiber arts,
Mhm.
or music, like just letting yourself, um, letting it out, whatever it is. It may not be pretty. It may not be, you may not even, it might just be colors, lines, shapes, who knows, sounds, but it takes you somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, and for embroidery, like how could I forget mentioning whenever I embroider, I like to say that I'm like getting an opportunity to like stab. It sounds so terrible, but it's like stabbing something over and over. Sometimes it just feels good to like get the satisfaction of like stabbing something with a little needle.
Yeah. Well, the first time I ever needle felted, which was, I guess, this past year,
Oh yeah, needle melting
yeah,
too.
and it was like, oh, there's something really interesting just about this repetitive,
Yeah,
and yet it's creating something at the same time.
so
It's
many of my friends are joining. It's
yay!
so nice to see everyone. It's so nice to see everyone. Thank you all for like coming in and saying hello.
Well, you know what? I feel like it's been such a strange time the last, what, 18, 19 months. Maybe we don't realize the impact that we have, that just by being,
Mhm.
and that's not surprising to me that you have folks responding, tuning in to see, just check in to see where you're at and appreciate you.
Yeah. There's
Uh,
so many of my coworkers, my classmates, like people that follow me, people that are friends with me on Instagram. Like, that's so nice. Thank you guys.
well, I know your
Sorry
Instagram.
for interrupting where we were, but like I just had to acknowledge it because I'm like, oh my gosh.
No, that's lovely, and that's how this goes. We chat. It's informal. It flows. If we need to have another chat later on, we can. Um, it's just this informal space. It's like moments like this are kind of like what used to happen in the art hive, right? Where
Mhm.
we're sitting at a table drinking a cup of coffee, and then you just have these conversations about what we love or what we don't love, or um, and that's what these kind of do for me, and they do it for the community. So I appreciate you being here so much.
Thank
Absolutely,
you.
and for everyone who's watching and listening as well. Um, okay, so we were talking about art and wellness and letting it,
Yeah.
and not necessarily having to create something in some way, because that's so true. We compare ourselves to artists we admire all the time, but
Hmm.
that can sometimes prevent us from actually discovering what our creative voice is. Because if we get, bogged down with the fact that what we're doing doesn't look or resemble like what they do or isn't as good as what they do,
Hmm.
that can be a real challenge. How did you, because it sounds like you're not unfamiliar with the inner critic. Uh, how did you get by that? How did you get through that to just create in spite of that?
I feel like it's almost like I went. through like this piece isn't gonna be like what I want it to be. I don't have the skills, I don't have the talent. And then I guess I just decided that it doesn't matter. I don't know where that like going from a perfectionist to like not really caring all that much, but something that I tell people if they are doing something artistic and they're like, I made a mistake and I I don't feel like I can do what my vision is. I'm like, I just call it a style. Just if you mess up a line, just call that line like that's your style. That's your signature style. Like it doesn't have to be all like like your art is good enough. I just decided that maybe the factors of like the wellness it provides me
Yeah.
outweighed the perfectionist sort of. And you get better through practicing anyway. Where do you think everyone else started? I think that's one of the great things about social media is a lot of people post the side by side of this was me 10 years ago and this was me today. It's
Yeah.
sort of like good to see other people's journey and stuff.
There's a lot more honesty in and when it comes to that, I think. There's a lot the pressure to perhaps show the best of what you can do is there as well.
Mhm.
But like
Yeah, oh,
if you can shake that off and own it for yourself, own your own process, own your own journey, then it's really liberating because you can go back and you can say, this is the worst thing. This is the thing I don't like, even though someone else might love that. That's the other thing.
mhm,
When we try to be something other than who we are or move from that place, I think we do a real disservice to ourselves, but also other folks who might really enjoy what we do because I love your art because it is made by you. And if you hadn't taken that chance on yourself, if you hadn't believed in yourself enough to create and release that piece, then everyone else, we're robbed of that as well. We don't have a chance to see that work. And some of the work I love the most on your page, you do so many amazing things,
thank you.
but I've really been enjoying, it's so funny that you talk about drawing and how you mentioned, I think, how you're not very comfortable drawing or,
I A lot of people argue with me because I say I'm not very good at drawing, but everyone's like, "You're great at drawing," but I don't do like technical drawings. I do little doodles and stuff. I don't do like full drawing pieces.
but that's
I
so,
guess for me there's a difference, but for other people there's not a difference.
well, there might be a difference, but what I love is what you do. I like, and some of those pieces in particular recently have been shining a little more light on sort of raising awareness of like mental health or um, just kind of acknowledging the challenges that so many of us are facing these days. And those works have been really powerful in their simplicity, in their humor, their whimsy, and their honesty. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, thank you for sharing those.
Of course, it was a difficult process to start sharing stuff that has more depth because I do stuff that's totally like whimsical or fun or like usually I have like it's like either positive or it's neutral. Like nothing's really been like not too positive except for recently. And I just sort of realized that other people are also struggling and other people are also going through it, especially nowadays, like a lot of people are struggling. So I thought,
Yeah.
you know what, I feel comfortable enough like now sharing some of that stuff.
And if it changes, then you pull back. But I truly appreciate that. Thank you for that. Now,
Thank you.
a lot of your classmates are watching today, a lot of folks out there.
Yes.
Um, do you want to talk a little bit about where you're at right now in your journey and where you hope to be going in the future?
Yeah, I can talk about that, and my classmates can also relate to this. I am going to college right now and I'm studying arts management. And yeah, there's I don't know what else to say about it, but I'm studying arts management.
Well, how about this then? What do you think led to that place? What do you think? Like, how do you find yourself there? Was there one day you woke up and you said, I want to be an arts manager, although I don't know exactly what that term means.
I was studying history. I got my bachelor's degree in history,
Yeah.
And I thought, I want to work at a museum. And then I really thought about why I want to work at a museum. And it's because I want to teach people things and, spread information and spread education. And then I
Yeah.
sort of realized, yeah, I sort of realized that I want to, like, through looking at different programs, like, you went from museum management to event planning to and then a couple programs just popped up for arts management, and I thought, this is like I can still do museum studies in arts management,
Yeah.
but it has like I like the arts. It just um it it was a little bit more spontaneous. I didn't know exactly like arts management could be like a professional field. I never really thought about it until I delved into not wanting to write history papers all the time and not wanting to do academic history stuff and taking that and being like, I want to do museum studies. I want to do now arts management.
It sounds like you're listening to your gut, like you're really learning about yourself
Yeah.
and just kind of honing in on the things that bring you joy and that you're curious about that you want to expand as you move forward. That's a great place to be, if you don't mind me saying.
Yeah, because I never had any formal arts education, and I realized that like I don't want to say informal arts education, but arts education from me and art programming and stuff could be valid because I now kind of claim more of my interest in art. Like I
Yeah.
sort of just claimed it. I'm like, you know what? I like the arts. I can't hide it. Like I can't pretend I'm not an artist anymore. It's just too much of my life now. And the program is super fulfilling. Some of
Yeah.
my classmates are here live and they can also, we're just a really good group of people.
That's,
And it's good to be in a place where everyone's all excited all at once.
and we need that. We need people who are excited about the art, whatever modality or expressive, like whatever platform that is. We need people who want to help make art happen, help be a part of telling those stories and having those stories be heard by new people, new voices being heard by.
Mhm.
It's a super exciting time to be entering that field, and yeah, congratulations on being there and beginning
Thank you.
an amazing journey. It's so exciting,
Thank you.
and I think that I hope that it won't stop you from making art. Okay,
No.
good.
It might even I don't want to, I was about to say, it might even make it worse because I'll just be doing art all day. But um,
Well,
I
let's.
like talking to other artists. I like getting feedback from other artists. And I think it's a point of relation. Like if I'm, working with artists, I can also say, hey, I'm an artist. I get the struggle. I get what you're going through. It just kind of like
Yeah,
helps me. A lot of my classmates are artists, whether they're visual, they're photographers, they're dancers, they're musicians, like all sorts of different artists
yeah.
that
The
are
arts is
around me.
the arts is not a narrow path. I think
Mm-mm.
that's such a great takeaway, and something that I learn every time I visit your page and see what you're working on today. Because it is a little bit like, oh, what's Farah working on today?
It's a little chaotic.
That's hey, that's not a bad thing. I think there's structure, there's story, there's flow. It's just not boring, and that's
Thank you.
now I know you have to run to class soon. I think so. I don't want to keep you too much longer. And you've already shared a whole lot of really beautiful things. But let's say, just to kind of wrap this up a little bit, if you were talking about in the past when you weren't so sure at times, and the times in your life that we all have, for better or for worse, where things are more difficult and we struggle with trying to understand who we are, which I'm an oldie and I'm still figuring out who I am. I hope I never figure it out. I love discovering as I go, but that's for another time. And maybe an artist,
The journey.
yeah, maybe that's an artist thing as well. But anyways, back to you. Looking back, if you could revisit a time in your life and, give yourself some advice, so maybe something you know now that you wish you'd known then, what do you think it would be?
Hmm. Advice. Um, I guess I would tell,
It's
I
okay.
don't know.
if you
I
don't.
don't know, 'cause I found myself when I was younger, comparing myself a lot to other classmates. Like in school, I would like I never did the art program in high school. I never did any of the like visual arts classes, and I would always kind of like look at other of the art students' work, and I'd be like, I wish I could draw like them. Like I almost wish I could take visual arts, but I don't feel comfortable doing that for whatever reason. So I guess just like comparing myself less to different artists, comparing myself less to like other people.
Yeah. Do you think you would have been more involved in the arts if you'd been able to embrace that when you, I mean, and that's a difficult thing to embrace at any age, let alone when, we're very young and looking to others for support or inspiration. Um, it's a beautiful thing to remember though. That's, I mean, good advice for anyone to admire that at the end of the day, your voice is the one that matters and your voice is the one that people will respond to.
I think that's why I push so hard for people to try anything to do with arts. If people are like, wow, I really like your embroidery, I'm like, you want to try embroidery? You want to do it? Because I just want people to be more exposed to the arts. I want people to not feel like they need to compare themselves to me either. Like everything's totally valid and so it's all good stuff.
Vera, I can't wait. We got to get the mobile art hive out too because you are
Yeah.
an art hive spirit. I feel like that alone. Um, yeah, and you know what? It's a pleasure seeing you again. It's been so great catching up. I know it's been quick.
Mhm.
Time flew. Um, but
Time flew right by. I loved chatting with you so, so much.
oh, likewise. And I hope we get to do it again soon. And like, I'm serious about bringing the art hive out. Maybe I'll bring it out. Maybe I'll connect with Centennial College and see if I can bring it out to.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I should get in touch with my college too. I should get in touch with Centennial and chat with them about that.
We'll see what we can do. Oh, how lovely! So it's so nice listening on your drive. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And okay, so I don't know what. I'm just so happy to connect with you. Keep on creating. Take breaks when you need to. Any
Thank
last
you.
shout outs you want to give to people, or um, is there anything you need? Like, how can we find you and support what you do?
Just follow me on Instagram, and like I said, anyone who wants to try anything, reach out to me. Anyone who wants to try wood burning, needle file. If it's something that you've never seen me do on my Instagram, I'd still probably like wanted to try it so we could try it together. Like all of my friends here today listening, like everyone that stopped by, classmates, coworkers, like I said, like everybody.
It sounds like you've got an art hive in the making right where you're at.
I wanna share with everybody. I want everyone to do their art.
Oh, love it. Well, oh, that's amazing. I can't say that better. You're great. Thank you for
Thank,
joining me for today. And I guess I'll let you go so you can get ready for your next class.
thank you. Yeah, it was great talking to you.
So great. Have a wonderful afternoon and take care of yourself. And hopefully we'll see one another again in person soon. Okay?
Hopefully, yes.
Okay. All right. Bye. That was awesome. And I know I say that every single Tuesday after chatting with someone. And I mean it. I mean it. What I'm so lucky to have these opportunities to connect with wonderful creative people out there. And if you're a creative person who wants to chat with me, who wants to share what you do, your art, your heart, whatever that might be on a Tuesday Instagram artist chat, reach out, message me, let me know, because we're always looking to meet with new creators as well as old familiar faces we know from the studio and expand this creative community, this supportive creative community. And thank you so much to Farah Flowers Art for joining us today. It was so great to chat with you. And I'm leaving feeling, yeah, kind of inspired and kind of a little lighter than I came into the chat today. And yeah, I think that's your energy, your spirit, that openness. It's a great reminder to create for the sake of creating, to create because we can, to make what we want to make, whatever we want to make when we want to make it, because there's a reason why that impulse is there. And if we follow that impulse, if we trust it, it'll take us somewhere interesting, right? And you never know where it's going to take you. Thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in to watch. Thank you so much. We'll be back again next Tuesday, and of course on Facebook for lots of live stream and all sorts of Zooming activities and programming for the living room. But for today, thanks for joining us. And until we can connect and create with one another in person, I look forward to connecting and creating with you right here online. Take care, everyone, and see you soon. Bye.